Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League, presented by Subway for our second series here on the upper bracket for the day. Once again, I'm Camcom. Still, that is Cubby, and that is still Basil, joining you all once again for the second series. This time, we've got Disgused up against Team Liquid Honda Challengers today.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a fascinating matchup, because if you were to take the top 4 preseason teams that people had ranked, it would have included Disgused, TLC, and then honestly Supernova or Fear on the bubble with FlyC, right? But we did not see Disgused or TLC have a smooth regular season at all. As Surdy put it, each of these rosters have talent, but the cohesion, it took a little bit for these teams to figure out, but they figured it out just in time. The big upset wins yesterday for both Disgused and TLC over Maryville and Supernova respectively put them here. And a win today would mean they're a best of 5 against FlyQuest Challengers away from making the Riot Games arena.
I think it is funny that we have the 7th versus the 6th seed technically here on the upper bracket, whereas this is a matchup that we definitely were expecting to see in the playoffs, but we weren't actually expecting it to maybe actually see it on the upper bracket, as you do see the Disgused roster here. Next up, we do have the TL Challengers roster as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to look at both teams because they had such a rocky start in the beginning, but that also means that they have some sort of second wind now, meaning they might whip out some crazy picks. They might have some strats that we haven't seen yet to get to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where, I mean, for me personally, like, there is individual talent on each of these teams, right? Like, when you think about, like, very high level in Challengers League, like, the teams that get first pick of the litter in terms of players, it was FlyC, Disgused, and Team Liquid Honda Challengers. So the fact that both these teams really struggled in regular season was disappointing, but kind of like the C9 win over 100 Thieves in LCS, they won their best of 3s, and like this is where we expected them to be right off the bat. And a win today, I mean, regular season's gone. A win today would be huge. Again, you're a best of 5 away from making the Riot Games arena. That's a huge deal for these guys, and there are a lot of players in this game who aren't just looking to be on stage for the first time, but also a lot that are looking to get back there. So excited to see what we see from each of these squads in this best of 3. And Basil, I'm kind of curious. I know you've got a couple friends in this game as well. So is there anyone that you're really looking out for?
Yeah, so Tenacity is someone I'm friends with, and excited to see him back in comp because he had a little bit of downtime these past few months, but excited to see him again. I know the meta right now might not be in his best interest, especially with the players that he has. I know Minui is a very much like aggressive ADC, has picks such as Kaisa and things where he can display his talents, so I would be interested in seeing what Tenacity, whips out in this series to see if he goes back to the classic. Well, Aatrox is already banned, so maybe not that, but something along the similar lines.
Yeah, well, I mean, Aatrox being taken away from Tenacity, I was about to say, like, as long as Aatrox is in the meta, I feel like Tenacity's fine, but now with that removed, interested if that leads to something like Udyr or Cassante being early picked. And also really like the fact that Rumble respect being paid towards Jenkins, who, as you mentioned, Tenacity coming off a break. Jenkins the same way. He didn't play last summer. And now, I was talking to him before the series, he's actually playing both collegiate and for Team Liquid Honda Challengers with some of the core over at Fisher. So I know talking with him, it's been like, trying to figure out the balance that I have between competing on 2 teams in school. Also with solo queue, it's been a little bit rough getting back into it, but he feels like he's in a nice spot now as playoffs has come. He feels like he's starting to play a little bit better, and this is a matchup where we've seen Jenkins and Tenacity have some history, as these were actually both of our top laners that we had going all the way back for 2021 Proving Grounds and finals between Team Liquid Academy and 100 Thieves Academy way back then. So, that's
Smolder pick, very exciting.
Yeah,
Woo!
You're a fan of Smolder, Basil?
I think watching Smolder is interesting because you could jump this champion early and make him the most like sitting duck kind of champion, or I feel like a lot of teams end up just disregarding bot lane and letting him scale to the max. But looking over back at Team Liquid side, there is a chance they plan for multiple dives with their champions to maybe counteract the Smolder pick.
Personally, I despise Spolner, but the other champ that's really OP in the meta right now down there is Senna. So
I despise Senna, so,
Oh, okay. Well, I know Kelsey Moser will have some strong words on each side. That said, Mid laners locked. I do like the Taliyah pairing and denying that from Smolder. I think Taliyah is really strong and is a great pairing with Smolder, given that you have the ability to roam and affect bot to try and help Smolder, like, from getting attacked. But also in team fights at Unraveled Earth, it's really tough to walk through that to get on top of Smolder as well. So that is denied. It will be in the hands of Roamer, but one of the counters we have seen to Taliyah mid has been that Hui. So a lot of scaling and wave clear already for DSG, showing both the Smolder and the Hui.
Yeah, I also looked at the bans on the side of TL as well. The mid lane pool is very interesting. They banned the classic LeBlanc, so Young's Hui will be an interesting watch. They could still technically on TL side put Taliyah jungle. I don't know how likely that's going to be. It could be exciting. Don't think it's that good, but interested to see what they're choosing, especially because on the side of DSG they are banning Vi and potentially another jungler as well.
Yeah, I think Vi is a rather sound ban with having a Smolder, a point and click with the Taliyah combo would be pretty nice. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like Lee Sin or Xin Zhao taken away here as well.
Oh, Kennen.
Oh wow, I mean that's a Jenkins special. As Jenkins pool runs deep, and Cam, that's been a pick that Jenkins has been playing for a long time.
I've been staring at this draft, Kier Cubby, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure this is definitely the first time I've casted Hui. This might be the first real game I've casted of Smolder.
Oh wow! All right, you're
exciting,
in for one,
exciting.
Then,
I am. I don't think I casted it earlier today on CB LOL, so I'm pretty sure this. Yeah, I don't think I've casted Smolder yet. This will be fun. I've watched a lot of games of Smolder. I definitely know Smolder a lot better than I know Hui, so this is gonna be a real test of my personal game knowledge.
Don't worry, just 225 stacks, and the game kind of gets over. But
yep.
Yeah, you're good. That's all you need to know, Cam. You're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got flap. I got mom. I got all the numbers of 225 in my head. Tell me about Hui though. What does the champion do?
A lot.
So a lot of range and a lot of damage.
Okay.
And honestly, I mean, I think Basil would be a fan, given that Hui is supposed to be a painter.
I mean, I guess so, but
yeah.
I think Hui is actually really,
Okay.
really fun to watch. I will say, I think he's still relatively new to where people don't super know how to play into him, but looking back at TL, I guess they're aiming for the Jax jungle once again. So I'm excited to see how TL plays it, aside from how FlyQuest had played it earlier, and see if it was a little more impactful now than it was before.
Yeah, this was played yesterday, actually, in that series, and it's something where, I mean, at the moment, I will say Jenkins versus Tenacity, I've really liked Jenkins Gnar this split. It is 2-1. I think it's been very strong, and curiously enough, a Poppy coming in to kind of hold the line, the front door. It is decently strong against both Jax and Gnar, but can really get ran out by the Taliyah that has some positive interactions, but overall, you can always control the fight with Keeper's Verdict. That could be big for disengaging a couple fights that may happen too early for the Hui and the Smolder. I like Perry piloting this pick. I'm kind of interested to see if he's able to maybe dissuade some fights from TLC, as Disgused looking like they have to scale Basil. And I want to give you some last words before we say goodbye. So,
excited to see this top lane matchup, but it's also top lane, so it could just be an island once again. The spot lane matchup is slightly boring, depends on how mid lane wants to play. If Leah gets a push in and they coordinate to jump Smolder, could be great to watch, especially because you hate Smolder, so...
Yeah, I despise this champion. It's
He's fun. It's a fun watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's cute. They made
Free
the bomb
Elder.
sound way too loud because they really wanted to sell it. Yeah, there's a chew. I get it, but
Oh yeah, I
please nerf
forgot
this
about that
champion.
one.
Yeah,
That was good
please
too.
nerf this champ. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Basil. We'll see you again after this game. We got a ducky. Let's go. I heckin' love my observers. I heckin' love my ducky. No, Poom scared the ducky. All right, well, let's go next game. TL1.
Really? Okay. That's it. Just that duck's on that side of the map, so that's what it is.
Yep.
We're gonna have a little bit more intricacy than that. Honestly, I'm excited for this one. I feel like Jenkins and Tenacity for me were actually two very strong players, even with the struggles that we're going through on this regular season. And I don't know, like for me, Jenkins is someone that he gave like some really thoughtful answers in terms of making sure that this team, like the story that kind of Surdy brought up, this team really had to come together. And he said being remote and like this is the first time that he's really not with his teammates and coaching staff in person. Like it really adds the dynamic, and the fact you have to check in with each other on demand and motivate each other. It's a lot easier to do that in person than remote. And he highlighted that, like coming back this season, how that was a little bit of a struggle at first. And he kind of said that between that and some other things, it took a little bit longer for this team to pull it together. But each of these teams really have put it together in the back half to grant themselves this upper bracket best of 3, and will be interesting to see which one can move on to face FlyQuest Challengers next week.
Absolutely, both of these teams definitely did commit their upsets yesterday on their Friday matches in the first round of playoffs, and now they get to face off against each other as the two upset teams. Again, a matchup we definitely were expecting, just perhaps not on this half of the bracket. Very excited to see which of these teams will be facing FlyQuest Challengers in the best of 5 to buy their ticket once again to the LCS Challenge. Oh my gosh, Riot Games Arena for the grand finals in person. Once again, exclamation point tickets for that one.
Yeah, also, while we're talking about $5, feel free to drop a sub, as if you do sub to this channel, you get A, some sweet emotes, and B, the proceeds actually go directly to supporting the teams and players. So definitely one of the cooler parts about Challengers League is every sub actually matters for these teams. Yeah, I know, like, a team like Maryville, like, they use a lot of it to actually pay for their team's travel and lands. It's a very unique situation, but the fact that you are directly supporting the teams that you see here in Tier 2 adds that grassroots connection, and is a really nice part of our league that, would be nice if LCS had a sub button, but they're just not cool enough, Cam. We get that in Challengers League.
We're cooler. Yeah. So true.
100%.
That's why we've got flap, flap, flap from the newie, right? It's your favorite champion.
Yeah. Nope, don't want to talk about it. As
the fact that you hate this champion immediately makes me want to love it. So. All
right. Well, I at least appreciate that, Cam. As we have to balance things out in the caster decks.
Look, I'm totally neutral for it right now. So.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate it. You're trying to be professional, and I'm the one being immature here, saying I dislike a champion. My bias is getting involved.
Okay. You know which champion I really hate though? Is Lee Sin, and I was trying very hard to be professional earlier when there was a Lee Sin. So.
Wow, I couldn't even tell. Well done, Cam.
Let's go. I'm
at the moment,
just smurfing today.
Both of our junglers looking toward the Scuttle Crab. Tenacity's going to go in. Actually, Perry skips over it. They're going to take a fight.
The flash. Stun does land onto Roamer, but the knockback lands is good onto Tenacity as well. Not able to flash until he gets off of the rocks. Meanwhile, Perry is able to flash just in time away from Keel. There's a lot of flashes, burn Cubby, and the only thing to fight over is a Scuttle, and we're not even done yet. Perry going back in, just flashing forward to get back onto the Scuttle, and it is finally secured, in fact, in favor of Team Liquid Challengers. First blood picked up for Young, though. Jenkins just about able to walk away. Oh my gosh, every single flash was burned on the top side for literally 1 kill on the Scuttle.
Yeah, DSG, they re-engaged the fight because Perry had a level advantage. So the Counter-Strike was down from Jax. I like the full commit from Perry, who has really had a glow up in the back half of the split. And it's funny because, like, DSG were a team that was really talented, but talking with Poom, he's like, hey, we've had to take some deep breaths, which is somewhat of a younger team compared to what Poom's used to experiencing. I mean, even looking back at his days with CLG, right? And he's like, me and an Arrow, like, we're the ones that kind of lead macro. We had to make sure that we were taking a deep breath. It felt like everyone was kind of playing out of desperation. Like, this was a team that knew they weren't reaching the expectations and the standards that they were hoping to set for themselves. So I think that like story and the fact that these guys have really found the bounce back in the back half of the split has been great to watch for, both sides of these teams. But at the moment, Jenkins have to be careful about how he hops back. His flash to be burned preemptively.
Good flash away. Was a little bit early, though, like you said. He's trying to get an extra stack or two to get that Meganar for Keel, to get the re-engage. Tenacity, a very important trade that you saw there was the fact that... Oh, never mind. Keel. Cashing in on Perry. Okay. Tenacity had a really important trade to actually deny the full crash that Jenkins would have had. Tenacity did lose a pretty solid amount of his HP to actually get that trade because of how big of a crash it was. But in the end, Jenkins, of course, is the one forced to TP in. We got the Krugs, or the Grubs, or whatever you want to call them now, being fought over. Perry not having flash. Again, everyone lost their flash on the top side already. Poom has arrived as well as Spawn. You mentioned it last series. Senna super love being up here for the Grubs, and this Senna will be none other than potentially dead, actually. Spawn will succumb to the top side plague of just forced to burn your flash the second you walk up here.
And honestly, this 2-for-1 Grubs, I think for DSG is pretty good, because while this is going on, you get Smolder getting free time in the bot side, where Smolder at the moment isn't under pressure, and also Tenacity got that wave all the way in and was able to walk back. So he not only has an item advantage, but also has TP advantage. So even though TLC's up a Grub, I really favor how DSG comes out from that trade.
Absolutely, a little bit extra Still only 1 kill in their favor, right? But any objectives that you could get in the early game, very much favoring the super scaling Smolders, I've so been told. I'm very excited to see the 225, 250, whatever the magic number. I know it is 225, but I think 250 is a fun number, so I'm gonna say 250.
Wow, we're just picking numbers here. That
I heard that they're changing it to 275.
Yeah, so you're okay. I mean, I get it. You know, you were trying to level out my expectation of the Smolder, and now you're trying to level out the balance changes to, you know, get more buffs to your favorite champ. I appreciate you using this platform, Cam, to push propaganda, to push champs in the direction that you favor. That's very mature of you. And I mean, I do the same thing with Braum. I talk about Braum a lot. I used to be the best Braum in A, you know? I get it. I'm proud of you.
I have so many things that I cannot say right now.
I broke my co-caster. That's a win. All right. Meanwhile, on the map.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Yeah. On the map at the moment. Maybe trying to break the first dragon. As Manui and Poom will find that control board. I would expect Dragon to be in favor of the Senna Kench team, but at the moment, Manui is up 2 levels on the Senna. Senna's still down a level to Poom. That's a pretty big deal. As DSG, I think, keeping this game moving forward. If they can take a Dragon at all in this game, buying Smolder 5 minutes to get to that 225 stack number is significant. And I like how Meteos put it today on the LCS cast. He kind of said, you know, 5 minutes against Smolder feels like such a long time. Just the power that you get once you eclipse 225 and your stacks continue to scale throughout the game with the ease of getting them, just with how the queue improves for Smolder. It can be really tough to play into. So I think TLC needs to keep this game going, and the fact that this Dragon is so delayed at the start already means that, like, Soul is coming in for TLC. Even if they played out Queen from here, when Smolder will have access to all the stacks. So that's a bit concerning.
I think Smolder typically gets that stacks between the 25 to 30 minute mark, which is also, assuming that they took an early Dragon already, would have been the time that a Soul could have potentially spawned. Yeah. So again, the fact that it's so delayed now is only in the favor of DSG. They are so happy with how this early game has gone, especially considering they also have 1 kill so far onto Young, and basically, I mean, I'm just gonna call it what it is. It was a fiesta for that first Scuttle grab. There were 6 flashes blown for a Scuttle. What was happening over there, man?
I mean, the fight was so fun they had to do it twice. That's what was happening up there.
That's true. There were 2 fights for a single Scuttle.
Yeah, I do think the DSG re-engage was, I mean, they got the kill, but being up levels like that was smart. As at the moment, Jenkins
kind of playing with fire.
He might be dove.
Definitely could be dove. The wave is relatively, I think, enough to actually connect the full dive. Tenacity diving a little bit too far. Perry going to be forced to flash and follow up. Tenacity actually will burn his own flash as well. Jenkins, I mean, he didn't even have flash. He got the flashes out from both the top laners of DSG, and he will end up falling. That is now 2 kills picked up by DSG.
Some of the windows you can play around with Gnar, of course, Mega being such a big piece of that champion. Tenacity Geek. Perry getting in there when it was Mini. And also, I mean, to be fair, DSG, they understand, like, they don't want to fight in the spot side. They don't want to do the dragons, right? So I feel like they're playing to where their power window is. Keel was already spotted on the top side as well, so Perry answering after they saw Keel left. Yes, it will be the first dragon being taken by TLC, but getting some of that gold in the top side, denying Gnar. It's an easier front line for Smolder to do some smoldering through later on in the game. So I think DSG, again, happy with where they're playing towards so far. It's a close game, but I think DSG doing a better job at hitting their win cons.
Definitely a Redacted is infinitely stronger in the early game than a Smolder. And infinitely stronger, or easier to gank even than the Smolder lane would be here for Perry, right? Jenkins. And again, I would say a little bit of trouble here. Perry is hovering the top side. This is the 2nd round of Grubs. I forgot who got what in the first round, but 3 for 0 in the 2nd round for Disgused.
It's going to be 4-2 overall for DSG. We don't have the ability to track that on our HUD, but fortunately, I can track that in my mind. Team effort up here, Ken. It's my job. I'm the color tester, right?
I appreciate it.
So, 1K gold lead for a Smolder comp. A Dragon very much delayed, and 4 Grubs is, I mean, honestly, a great scenario. And now we have something that you can do with Senna comp specifically. I like this better with Nautilus because you can leave your support bot with TP. It's good on Naut. You do 3 points in E to have a lot of wave clear. Tom Kench doesn't quite have the same amount of wave clear, but now you just give Smolder free farm, but you are really harassing Renekton with a Senna being up here, but Puma's hiding until now, so maybe DSG takes a fight. The root will buy some time.
Perry looking for something onto Roamer, who was just kind of stealing away his chickens, a little bit hungry for some dinner this late.
He took all the small ones.
Day. You got all the small ones. Perry got the big one.
I mean, it was nice. You can tell that Roamer really cares about Perry because the only one that Roamer shared was the biggest one. So that's how you make sure your friend feels loved.
Bot lane. Him down. He's going to kill the Smolder. Cubby is going to be very happy that Smolder dies. That is my prediction. Nope. Flap, flap. Flap, flap, flap. He's safe.
A little bit of safety. That wave's frozen, though. We also have 3 people that are top. Poom is still hovering.
Poom hovering. The Cook is good onto Keel, but of course he still has a dash to make it out to safety. Perry is hovering up here as well, but Tenacity take it down real low. Sentinel committed as well, but just about able to dash away in time. Perry has not shown. It's totally unknown right now to Team Liquid, but he does show now. Good ult from Poom, but not quite enough follow-up there to actually secure any kills. Tenacity, I'm going to say it's kind of a miracle he actually lived that dive.
I really actually liked how he was holding out on that ult so long because he was trying to like potentially bait the turn. The ult from Young goes a little bit wide against Roamer, and Roamer actually has an angle to maybe pressure Young. Each jungler walks mid, not going to be the case, is Spawn.
Nasty diving back in. They don't have any ults on the top side right now, but Spawn might not have enough HP to actually continue this fight. Good flash away defensively by Spawn. Jungler versus jungler on the bot side of your screen right now, though. Perry able to secure the scuttle away from Keel this time around. Perry also has his ult if he wants to get any disengaged just in case for some of that extra safety. But no, we're just going to keep fighting on the top side. All the fights around the top side with the amount of like mini skirmishes we've had, the fact that we've only had 2 kills is very impressive.
I mean, this is like kind of tense up here, but keep in mind, like what's happening off screen is that you're feeding like free farm in a free lane. It's a Smolder free lane versus a Tahm Kench free lane. I would much rather have the Smolder getting a free lane, as Manui is just getting a bunch of free stacks. There's going to be no contest later on from TLC, so I think all this focus, and again, like I have seen a lot of Smolder paired up with Renekton because you can do stuff like this. Renekton's so strong at these stages of the game, you can utilize him as a bridge to get the Smolder into the game later on.
Ooh.
Exactly what's happening here is Roamer under siege.
Yeah, double flash committed onto Roamer. He's able to flash away to safety. So 2 flashes committed for 1. That does, in the end, favor Team Liquid just slightly. But yeah, it is so crucial to note that even though the CS is like, oh yeah, it's 130 to 130 CS on the bot lane right now between the 2 quote-unquote 80 carries.
Yeah.
Smolder's gonna outscale the Tahm Kench every day of the week. Tahm Kench is not looking to stack 225. He doesn't have a cool ultimate name. So Smolder wins this every time, I think.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was actually talking quite a bit with Poom about working with Manui, because historically Poom has actually worked with marksmen that have a bit more experience with him. Thinking back to Luger, the pairing that he had from 100 Thieves Academy to CLG. You know, he said, you know, playing with Manui, it's different because, like, yes, he has a different pool, he's at a different level, but also, like, he's been learning a lot. Poom is talking about how he actually sends VODs with Manui to try and, like, work on in solo queue and how they go over games together. And it's funny because I feel like this duo over time has actually really come together in the back half of the split. I wasn't happy with Manui's play halfway through the split. And I don't feel bad saying that because if you check Manui's Twitter, he wasn't happy with himself either, as him and Perry pulled themselves to a higher standard coming from Fear, where they did find 2 top 4s. And this team, they weren't top 4 until now in playoffs. So I feel like that was kind of good reflection, as meanwhile.
Oh, Flea does land on the Kim down. Spawn buying a lot of extra time. He's totally in touch to the back lane right now, but Young putting in the damage, putting in the work onto the Team Liquid Challengers bot lane. Perry just about able to walk away with his little Yordle life. And again, so much is being thrown at these teams, but all of the plays, all of the gold lead so far has come out through the macro, as we still only have 2 true kills on the board. But the kills are in the favor of DSG, but the dragons and the objectives so far are in the favor of Team Liquid.
Still, that Dragon Timer, like, looking at if you get the fastest soul possible for TLC, that is the 25-minute mark, which, that's where we expect Smolder. Like, for me, the average Smolder 225 stack should be about 24 minutes. So that's going to come after we already have the execute coming in from Manui, and he's already at 148, which is fantastic for this point. Like, he's got 75 stacks to go to find 225 at this point of the game. He's getting this in, like, 22 minutes. So I think TLC, again, already behind the curve where they need to be in this game.
Team Liquid are the ones on a true timer, and that is not where you want to be necessarily when you have a Taliyah and a Senna. These are both also pretty massive scaling champions that need time to build up. However, they're going to need more time, and then at this point, the Smolder really needs for himself. Perry slightly caught out in the enemy jungle. I think the blue buff went actually in the favor of Spawn? No? Perry? I can't tell. They both have blue buff right now. One of them stole it.
I think it went up to Spawn.
Spawn got it.
Shout out to Super Kai. Also really like, it's a small thing, but we've talked a lot about the Smolder stacks. We've seen Spawn kind of tailing Keel as he kills some of his jungle camps. That is one way to get Senna more souls throughout the game as well. So like the fact that each of our teams finding ways to max out the stacking champions that we have in the game.
Absolutely. Manui has been basically left all on his own, by the way, for the first 15 minutes, or really the last 15 minutes so far of this game. Poom, totally on the top side, totally ignoring Manui. It's just like, you're talking about how good of a duo these two are, and I'm like, I'm yet to see these two actually play the lane together. In this game, right? He does have a little bit of a 25 CS or 10 CS lead even over his 80 carry counterpart in Kim Down. So much has been thrown between these two teams so far, and yet we still only have a 600 bouncing gold lead right now in the favor of DSG. Yeah. Again, it is just going to come down to like a 25-minute team fight for a soul, I think is where this game's going to be decided, because this early game so far has been totally uneventful.
It really just has been DSG playing slightly ahead and leaning on their lead, which I like. Like DSG, yeah. The onus is not on them to make plays, right? The onus is on them to kind of wait things out, and they can let the game come to them when they have a Smolder. So I think overall Disgused doing a nice job of hitting their win cons, and it can be a rather relaxed stream for Toast right now. As the ability to you know, sit back and chill. Definitely on DSG. As for TLC, I mean, Jax definitely like brings a scaling element to this, but I haven't really seen them use Taliyah to attack, and I'm curious, like, when are we going to see a Weaver's Wall from Roamer? Like, we haven't really seen one yet, and I'm not sure like where TLC can look, because with the Taliyah, you really want to bleed out some summoner spells, because if you're flashless, it's really tough to play against Taliyah. So I think TLC, like, they didn't play the pace of the game they needed to play in this. I think they needed to make things more volatile, and the fact that hasn't happened is making this game very easy for Disgused.
And it's so funny too, right? Because of how volatile the early game truly was. It was just there was no full connect onto any of the kills. And in fact, DSG were the ones that were able to pick up the kills in the early game, right? Which is very surprising considering Team Liquid, like you mentioned, they have been on a timer this entire time. And that timer of the Infernal Soul is up in 6 minutes, assuming that they take this one and the next one on spawn. Manui will 100% have his completed 225 stacks by then, and in fact might even have one of the upgraded, whatever you call it, execute ranges by that soul point.
I mean, if he plays the next like 3 waves well, like he's getting this in 22 minutes. Like I think we saw the fastest stack that was pre-22 today from FBI in game 1. And Manui's like on that pace. I mean, this is going to be a sub 23-minute ball. And DSG, again, at this point of the game. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. I thought Manui was going to take that Herald and like ram it into the other turret. I'm like, dude, you cannot do that, man. You can't serve yourself up like that. Oh, here we go.
Riptail is still on a mission, but I mean, TL is also going to be on a mission. TP coming in from Tenacity on the wave. Might be a little late, though. Poom taking about 50% of his HP. Riptail is knocking on the doors. Will finally be knocked down by Team Liquid Challengers. DSG are holding onto their support strong, holding onto their river controls strong, as Dragon has now started up, and Team Liquid Challengers are now the ones on the back foot. They have to face check totally blind right now into this bush. A totally death bush set up by DSG. When previously Team Liquid Challengers were the one with the control over this Dragon Baron.
Jenkins?
Oh my gosh, the Dragon River Bite even. He came in from Jenkins.
Yeah. Like the poke from Haya, and you can see Manui, he hit it. It's a 20-30 evolve from the Smolder. That's so fast from Manui. And I think the game's over. I don't know what TLC can do. It's the 3rd Dragon. And you have a Smolder evolve. This is so big for Disgused. And you can see they already forced TLC off the objective. That they pick up this Dragon, they buy another 5 minutes, and Smolder can just continue to stack and infinitely scale. So this game, like, again, the inactivity from TLC, like, I think what happened early on with Harry having level advantage and forcing the 2 fights over that crab, it really slowed down the pace of the game that Keel wanted. He wasn't able to actually proactively affect any of his lanes. Instead, he was kind of trying to react with Perry, who was just magicking and keeping the map clean. And then Everyone on Disgused just kind of sat back and scaled. Manui played a solo lane versus Tom Kench and got it for free. Like, what do we do now as TLC? There's no answer.
I also want to point out as well that the general team fighting positioning, and I'm assuming comms as well from Disgused in that fight, wasn't really a fight, but that was genuinely really clean positioning from Manui and the rest of Disgused. They were positioning in the bush, they were positioning to protect Manui throughout the entire something team fight, right? And if there was an actual engage, Manui would have been able to free hit for a pretty consistent amount of time. So the fact that there totally wasn't, TL was like, all right, we recognize that we have totally lost prio over the river. We recognize we totally lost prio over the mid lane. We're going to take that loss there, and we're just going to give you this dragon, as we already have two, and Disgused will have to wait another 4 minutes to actually tie up that dragon score. And again, waiting is the name of the game for Disgused.
I mean, like, that's what happened, but it's so tough for TLC because it doesn't get easier. It only gets harder from here, and that's why it's so tough to drop that dragon. So I don't know. This game didn't throw me from TLC, and I will say the one game that Disgused did drop in their series against Maryville, Manui was on the Smolder, and there was a really big fight later in the game where he got stuck behind a wall. That my peer Joshi did a really good job of pointing out. So I want to see Manui be able to position more safe because this might fall him. And here we go.
Knocked into TL. Mom dropped onto 4 members. Perry actually going to be dashing into the members of TL. Watch Manui though. The positioning, the flap, the damage and the double buffs on Manui are massive for Disgused in this first team fight of the game. I mean, yeah, Roamer's down, Kim down is down, shut down, picked up from Manui as well from the 200 CS bounty Roamer actually had on his head. And that, just like that, 2 more kills for Disgused, and now we're going to take a Baron.
I mean, this is why I was frustrated with TLC and their inactivity in this game, because if you aren't active against Smolder, this is what happens. And Disgused, they did a nice job of playing out a clean map. From here, they got a turn. Here we go.
Jenkins is hooked. The execute range is very near, and yep, just explode the top laner. There is no way to walk into this pit right now with Manui sitting at full HP. He doesn't have the flash. That was the very slight window that maybe TL could have played for, is if they can actually get on top of Manui and shut him down. But again, the positioning and the team fighting in general from Disgused has been so clean this playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way that DSG drops this game. Like, I mean, just look at how easy this fight is. Manui uses the E so early just like to dodge out on a flash counter-strike from Keel. I mean, from here, it's a front to back. Like, it's a 3v4 at the moment. Like, Tenacity's not even involved, and Manui's just melting everyone. There's no contest here for TLC. Yep. And again, like, you're against a Smolder. You're on a very aggressive timer. If not, this is what happens. And Manui's just breathing fire all over Team Liquid and dousing them in this game 1.
I don't have Twitch chat open, but I hope there's lots of Manui spams and lots of flap spams. That is what I hope for.
Get some flap flaps going. I feel like flap flaps would be a good idea. Yeah.
There should definitely be an emo, right? Somebody needs to make an emo for flap. That would be beautiful.
Well, he's flapping and clapping at TLC as, again, Team Liquid just getting doused with fire. Dredge line lands, that's another Q. Look at all that damage that just bleeds over. Yeah, Spawn can heal off one of those, but ticking is started, and this ticking time bomb of DSG is just going to lead to a boom Nexus here pretty soon.
Watching Young in the mid lane right now as well. It's just a pretty clean 3-1-1 kind of with Perry hovering around in the jungle. The weak point right now would be if TL could pick off Perry, but honestly, he is a Poppy, and he has so much extra threat from Young hanging out in the mid lane. By the way, Keel is just dead. I think he might have just walked out a little bit too far forward there. Really nice punish by the Disgused squad. On the bot lane, you see Jenkins kind of keeping the bot inner turret alive. Tenacity actually walked up top lane. He has TP again if anything actually does happen. But with the way that this game's kind of been playing out, there's not really any real team fights. So you can kind of just send Tenacity into one of these side lanes and let him split push for free.
No, Cam. I think fortunately I might get to shorten up your day, as I know it's approaching midnight by you, and this has been a nice match for these guys to make sure that you can, stay nice and quiet during this game, because there hasn't been a lot of action. So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the people on Twitch chat can hear, but my voice is going real quick.
Well, that's what happens when you have CB Law into NACL. That's an aggressive schedule.
It is losing me.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice to have you join us today, Cam, and it'll be fun to see how this best of 3 wraps. It has been fun, but at the moment, TLC, they're not having any fun on the Rift. As Keel is spotted, he is thrown into a wall, and that red buff is property of this guy.
I'm sorry. The vision toggler was really funny. It was like, oh yeah, it's just totally a 1v1 between the two junglers right now. And then the vision toggler shows like, oh, there's 4 more members.
He's got no friends here. No way. He doesn't have anyone
Perry's
here.
got all the friends.
Yeah, Perry did indeed have all the friends. Smolder, he's taken down his own family now. And this is really what I'm relegated to talking to, because I mean, I will say, like, this, like, for me, again, it's a pretty big series for each of these teams, because preseason, I think the most interesting thing is that we expected TLC and Disgused to be in the scenario. We expected them to be a top 4 team within Challengers, and they were not. Like, TLC was nearly relegated. If they would have lost the series to Lit, they were 1 series away from not even being in playoffs as an LCS org. Like, that's crazy to think about. So, like, I think that the pressure these guys have dealt with, that's definitely something that Poom talked about. Like, hey, some of these games, like, we're so desperate to win that we're just making dumb plays all around. Like, we want this. And I think, A, it's props that the teams have been able to bring it back. But,
One more fight up here on the top side, though. Fighting over the in-air turret on the top lane. Mom dropped, did plenty of damage onto Roamer, but kind of missed everyone else on the Team Liquid Challenger squad. The inhibitor turret, or the inner turret, sorry, has been completed. All 3 of them taken again. Just playing this pretty textbook macro style from DSG. They are yet to even drop a kill, by the way. Everyone is sitting perfectly deathless on Disgused. And now that I say that, someone's probably going to die very soon. But I just wanted to mention, for the first 27 minutes of this game, Disgused have played so well. And literally perfect, like, in terms of KDA.
Yeah, I mean, you have to drop. They dropped a couple turrets. That's going to happen, especially when you have a Smolder. You know, you're going to be pressured. But, yeah, it's unfortunately smoldering time. And I don't know. I mean, it's still props to Disgused. Like, I think the comeback that these guys have had this year. I mean, again, there's a lot of pressure on these guys. Like, they understand that they're picked first by these teams, and if they don't perform, like, you weren't staying on the top team, and in theory, you want to stay on one of these top teams to have your best chance at making it to LCS, right? Like, in order to make LCS, being top 2 in your role, winning stuff, like, you know, Challengers League, being placed in All-Pro, that matters a lot for the people that have LCS teams and are paying attention to this league. So it hasn't been the regular season that either of these teams wanted to go through. They showed a lot of gut in having it bounce back in a best of 3, and I just hope we get more of a war in Game 2, because it feels like TLC just didn't show up to fight in a game where they really needed to fight. And we are relegated to talking about big picture storylines here, because this game is... We just are waiting for the fat mom to sing on top of Smolder. Like, that's really what's coming in here. I don't know how to make a mom joke and the fat lady sings out of, like, you know, Smolder's out ult. I don't know if you got any assistance here, Cam. That's really, like, what we're relegated to again. All right, here we go.
I used 100% of my joke power on the Fear.
Wait a minute. Nui.
Game 1 of today. Oh, maybe.
Nui.
Got something. Nui might be called out. That is a pick onto the Smolder, by the way. Massive touchdown picked up for Jenkins. We have been cursing TL. We have said, again, I said, oh, my bad. Disgused, I said that they had a perfect KDA. Yep, that is definitely what I get. 2 quick kills picked up now for TL. Now they, for the first time in this game, actually have mid-prio. Of course, they have objective bounties. Looking to claim the first objective bounty off of this mid lane outer turret. TP coming in from him down. He's going to be sitting at full, oh my gosh, full health for this fight if they want to continue it. Really nice objective bounty as well as 2 kills picked up for TL. It is still a 6,000 gold lead for Disgused, but TL will do anything to try and close that gold lead.
I want to take another look at that fight, because I don't know, like, Manui was just locked down. It was a great Weaver's Wall coming out from Roamer. Manui wasn't able to he got caught by a center root and was just one-shot. And we have been talking about the Smolder so much. That is really the one way that you can beat a Smolder, is by taking it down. I think it's really tough for TLC to do so, but when you have a Weaver's Wall like that and Jenkins coming in over the top, you have the ability to, but that was a lot of summoner spells and cooldowns burned to make that play happen. And now we have this guy's returning to Baron. I mean, Manui just E'd in, and that makes this way too free as the root connected from spawn. Very nice. The chain comes in, the Weaver's Wall over the top. That's all too easy. We got to return the live, though, because Baron's at half.
Baron, 50% of his HP. TL looking to continue this fight. They won the fight, but now they've lost control over the Baron. 4K left Jenkins trying to get in the pit. Pops Meganar at the perfect time, but the Baron is sitting so low. It's not done yet. Red team finally Disgused locking it down the Baron, and they have to lock down this game as well with the Baron in their pocket. Minui taking down Jenkins. Yes, he took him down just a minute ago, but Minui will happily trade that one back about 45 seconds later. Perry flashing forward, hook lands, everything is so in the favor of Disgused. They are happy to continue pushing down into Team Liquid Challengers' face, and just like that, they are looking to take this game one.
I mean, TLC, they made one play the whole game, became way too late, and without Dragon stacking, the Dragon comes in, and it's smoldering time, as I hate to boil it down to that, but that's really the story of this game. Minui got all the time in the world to scale up and get fed, and outside of one fight, Minui delivered his Disgused, take game one.
Disgused flap their way to game 2 with a 1-0 lead over the Team Liquid Challengers squad here in the upper bracket of playoffs.
Honestly, there's not much else to say. I'm curious what happens with Smolder. I know it's something that Disgused, they weren't necessarily taking away from MU in the series yesterday, but I'm wondering if they want to take it away from Spawn and TL. Is Spawn really known for his late game team fighting? And you got Smolder that game. You got a pretty easy win. For me, I just didn't see the proactivity from TLC. You need to make that map volatile if you're going to play in the Smolder. And they had to play into the Renekton. And props to Tenacity, who really held strong in that top side with Poom. There was no pressure to be found in the top side when TLC rotated everything up there. And we just free farm, free scaled, and free win for DSG in the end.
We've got 1 or 2 more games left of the series, depending on how well TL are able to take it on in game 2 compared to DSG. Super well played from DSG in their game 1, but we will be going to a quick break here before we head to game 2 of our best of 3.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next up in some news, it was announced that NACA Finals will be live here in the Riot Games Arena, which is obviously a pretty big deal because this could be the first time some of these players are actually taken to the stage.
I am so pumped for this. To get to see players experience their first ever game on stage is incredible. You know, kind of learning what it's like.
What's NACL?
So, speaking of Magic, Cubby, I hear you worked some to get NACL Finals live somehow.
Yeah, team effort. But you know what? We're going back to the studio on April 1st for our live finals. You can get tickets now, and there's even going to be an award show to go along with it.
So you know what's interesting, Emily? Not only are they bringing back the most valuable prospect, but they're introducing a new slew of awards for the players and teams also to vote on.
Yeah, so looking at the list, there's also going to be a most improved player and a rookie of the split award, and they're voting for all pros. It's kind of like we do in the LCS, so it'll feel a little more familiar, I guess.
Yeah, NACL is going to be highlighting more players for their performance over the last split, and I think that's going to be awesome.
I already know who my MVP is, but now I gotta think about all those other awards too.
And also, finals are live, so we could all go technically and see the players.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool that they opened up the voting for the awards to the teams and the players as well.
Yeah, even the NACL co-streamers are going to get a chance to fill out their ballots this year. It's awesome to see so many different community members involved.
Yo, Eric, they just announced that NACL finals are live and we can get tickets.
Oh, sick. Playoffs are on right now. Put it on.
Let's go.